I grew up in a pew every seventh morning. I learned about the Lord, His love and His warning. As I grew up, I started to stray. I fell out of the Word and I lost my way. My demons had me down, I let them take control. I think it's time to find my way back home. I'm lost in this cold, hard world, and I'm tired of the pain. I need to find my once had faith and let go of all this shame.
What is going on, everybody? Welcome to another episode of the Blaklist Podcast. If you're tuning in with us for the very first time today, I want to go ahead and introduce myself. My name is Jared Blaine. I'm one of the hosts of the Blaklist Podcast. We got our boy Swag in here, and we make up the Blaklist Podcast. And today we have a upcoming singer-songwriter coming all the way out of Indiana. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome Willy Kay.
How you doing?
Appreciate you coming on, brother.
Good to see you, Willie.
Yes, sir.
Good to see you, buddy.
Good to see you too.
Yeah, man, I'm glad that you're able to come on and we're able to kind of, we've already done something before, but we're gonna, narrow some stuff down, and I'm grateful to be able to that you chose us to be able to, do this.
Thank you for having me.
Absolutely. Of course, as you know, me and Swag, we both love your music. He plays it all the time for his guys, and I jam out to it all the time. So it's definitely something that resonates with me. And it's grateful just to kind of just to be able to, in the past, been able to hear your mind, hear your brain behind the way that you process the songs and the way you make it and whatnot. You make it so relatable to everybody.
Yeah, that was my goal. Getting into music was to help people.
Yeah.
Mainly.
Yeah.
And obviously also to express who I am as a person. Not being able to express never was really popular in a way. So, and I mean, I dealt with that pretty well. I've always been an artistic person when it comes to things, intricate. And my wife, she sometimes thinks I'm annoying because of how intricate I am and how perfect things have to be, but all for a good reason. Sometimes it throughout my life it has affected me in bad ways, because I've let that take hold of me and miss opportunities or make bad decisions. But you live and you learn, you grow, and
Absolutely.
Turning that into my whole life up until moving to Indiana was good, and then I ended up in prison, in jail, work release and all that, on house arrest right now. And, leading up to that, I realized once I was sitting in prison and I had gotten sentenced, and then I was sitting there and I was like, man, what am I going to do with my life? And just short, I'm not going to go too far into detail, but just a short version. After being in jail for so long and just sitting there wasting the days away, most people, they sit in there, they watch TV, they eat, they work out, they just do things to pass the time to, most of the time it's sad to say, but most of the time, most people get out and do the same things. It's just a repeating cycle. And some people have no choice. Some people do. Some people always say there is a choice. But we all know, product of your environment. If you go to jail for, say, stealing, and you get out and you have nothing left, when you get out and you get thrown back on the street, most 9 times out of 10, you're going to steal again. Okay? We all know it, repeat offenders. And being in jail and being around these people, age ranging from, 17 all the way up to the oldest person I ever met in jail was 83 years old. ranging up from, I mean, just every crime you could imagine, small, little, serious, you know, not so serious, however you want to view that. But being a repeat offender, most people, like, you know, like I said, the stealing, or addicts especially. Addicts are obviously addicts for a reason, which is number one, like the most looked over thing. You know, who cares about a drug addict? You know what I mean? You know, we're looked at as like the scrub of the earth. This, you know what I mean? Because we're diseased, or people have a prerequisite of what an addict is, and not addicts are all the same. All right, some people have trauma, and some people have things in their life that make them do things that the normal person, happy person, wouldn't do. And even happy people do it. You know what I mean? Like happy from the outside.
Mm-hmm.
You're trying to find something to suppress the feeling that you have about life. And for some, dude, that can mean anything in life. I mean, some of the best people have grown up in, you know, good homes, the best situation possible. And then something happens in their life that is so traumatizing that they revert to drugs to be happy. And I saw that so much, a ton. It doesn't matter what it is. It all reverts back to maybe one situation or a series of situations, or how a person was raised, or how they were treated in school, or anything like that. And some people can't help it, man. Addiction is a disease. Just like when you get cancer, man, you can't just wake up one day and be like, oh man, I don't want cancer no more. I'm going to stop this. You know what I mean? That's not how that works. Whether you're addicted to nicotine or anything, everybody's been addicted to something. Some people are addicted to money. Some people are addicted to drugs. Some people are addicted to fast cars, going fast.
It's not all just substance, you know?
No, it's not. So addiction is a broad spectrum, but most people, when they hear addiction, they just think of drug addicts.
Yep.
And I think a common thing, and I even saw it in jail, like, you know, you're a drug addict. Like, people are even shunned in jail as a drug addict. It's like, oh, you're an addict, like you're nothing. You know what I mean? Like, even in jail, in prison, they're looked down upon as like the bottom of the bottom. And the murderers, or the people who are dangerous, are looked at in there as like the best of the best, because they're the dangerous people. You know what I mean? So it's all backwards. The system's backwards. And being in jail, I'm sitting there wondering, I'm like, man, what am I going to do, like, to contribute to, you know, being in jail? Like, I'm not a gangster. I'm not a fighter. I can draw. I'm artistic. So I'm sitting there, I'm like, man, what am I going to do to pass the time, per se? And I didn't want to just pass the time. That's you know what I mean? That passing the time is watching TV, like I said, doing whatever you do. Working out. Yeah, I worked out, did a lot of stuff in there too. But once I started writing music, it gave me something to focus on. And then after writing music and building up enough courage to sing in front of 50 hardened criminals from 50 different walks of life and 50 different crimes, 50 different everything, childhoods, traumatizing situations, good situations, bad situations, whatever it is, singing my song, I'm Found, in front of these guys, or Broken, or any of those songs, and seeing grown men in tears, you know, holding hands from different sets, like gang sets or whatever it is. People who hate each other, man, music brings people together. And once I saw that effect it had on people, I was like, man, I found out what I'm going to do. And I literally, after that, it was literally just set forth. Look, I would picture myself singing to people. I would dream about it. It just became like a whole thing. And I'd walk around every day in there, and, you know, I eventually became inmate worker and that kind of thing. And I would go and work, and then I wouldn't, when I go back, I'd write. I'd get a few hours of sleep. I'd wake up, I'd write. I got in a routine, man, and I'm pushing out like a song every day or a song every 2 days, you know? So I did that for I'd say I did that for like a year. And now my plethora of music is just, I mean, I have 18 songs out right now. I've probably got 27 to 30 recorded. And, you know, they just continue to get better. And I continue to build my better my craft, not build my craft, better my craft. And that's what life's about, dude. Finding what you're good at.
Yeah.
Finding what you're good at, what you want to do, which have to coincide. I mean, you don't want to hate what you do. You know, people don't do things they hate out of choice. Some people do it out of necessity. But that's also not healthy in an everyday life, and we all know that. If you hate doing something, you're not going to do it to the best of your ability. So, naturally, I'm going to be honest, I have never liked working for somebody in a sense. And it's not because I'm rebellious. It's not because I don't like the man or don't like working like that, but I like to have creative control. And as an artist, that's what I have. And I have put that for like front and foremost. I have a media manager. Never met him a day in my life. And I told him from the beginning, he reached out to me like literally when I put out my first snippets in November, I think, of 2022, he hit me up and I kept him on the back burner. Most managers are going to come at you and be like, hey, I need this money. I need that. I want to manage you, yada, yada. So I put him on the back burner, and when the time was right, he told me, when the time's right, hit me up. I got you. And my first thing going into this relationship, almost now, what's it been? December to, I'd say, it was about 11 months to a year. I think it was November when I got back with him of last year, so 2023. And I was like, all right, I'm ready. All right, I've built up. I've got this going for me, this going for me, this going for me. I've got this. And I was like, I'm ready. And I told him coming into it, I was like, listen, man, my whole life has been, doing things for other people. And I said, those things I've done for other people have not paid off very well my whole life. Okay. And that's what most people fall into. They continue just to put their foot out for other people, stick their hand out, do whatever they do for other people, and it just didn't pay off. Not that you can't do things out of kindness, but the things that I was doing for people ultimately ended me up in stupid situations. I could go on and on. Bad situations, potentially good situations that pretty much always turn bad because the things I'm doing for people, like, they weren't beneficial in my sense or for them. So naturally they were going to fail. So I told him coming in, I'm like, man, I want 100% creative control. You're not going to tell me I can't do this or I can't do that. I said, you can come to me with suggestions like, hey, I know this pretty well. You shouldn't do that. Okay. I might listen. I might not. But that's creative control. And that's what, like, me as a person, that's what I strive. That's what I built my whole thing around is creative control. Mm-hmm. And once I found out that I could enforce creative control in a positive way on other people and spin that whole thing around, like most people would put creative control on you in a sense of, like I just said, doing things for other people that ended up in a bad situation. My music's not hurting anybody at all. It may make you feel sad sometimes. It may make you feel happy. It makes you feel empowered, motivated. Depending on what you've lived in your life, music has, one of my songs, I'm Found, could mean 100,000 different things for people. You can apply it to anything. And I can't begin to even tell you, that song itself, since May of last year, has done 7.5 million streams by itself.
Let me ask you this, Willie. That was the first song that you sung in front of the inmates, right?
Yes.
Was that the first one? What was your
yeah. What do you say?
What was your expectation of doing that? Obviously, you said you were terrified, but what was your expectation? Were you worried about what they were going to think? How did how was their response to it?
Well, yeah, obviously what they're going to think. Who's this kid? A bunch of people sing in jail. Like, that's a big thing. Like, people sing in jail, right? Everybody's an artist in jail. Hey, man, I do music. You hear it every single day. Oh, let's write together, this and that. And not to knock people, but some people just aren't good at that. You know what I mean? But when going up and I've seen people humiliated, absolutely humiliated, and some people are like, dang, that's, a lot of people use the word hard, or, that's crazy, that's good. Going up in front of people who is this white boy from Illinois? You know what I mean? Who's this white boy from Indiana? Like, what's he going to do? So I'm like, man, all right. So I did it. And going up there, I'm thinking, You know, they're going to humiliate me. They're going to laugh. And I remember correctly, only a couple people didn't like it because they didn't like country. They hated country for whatever reason. And, but most everybody else liked it. And not to get racial in any sense, but in jail, it is white, black, and Latina, and you know, it is racial in there. A lot of people, and it's a touchy subject to get on, but the things I've done, the places I've been, and the people I've surrounded myself with, I feel comfortable, you know, talking about this.
The following PSA is brought to you by The Phoenix. The Phoenix is not just a gym, it's a community where the real weight lifted is not just barbells, but hearts, minds, and spirits. Whether you're in recovery or simply choose to live a sober lifestyle, The Phoenix offers a range of activities from yoga to hiking, all led by people who've walked the path of transformation. So why not aim higher with The Phoenix? The first membership requirement is just 48 hours of sobriety. Rise from the ashes and soar with The Phoenix today. Do you know about naloxone, otherwise known as Narcan? This life-saving medication can reverse an opioid overdose in minutes. You might think, I don't need it, I'm not around opioids. But the truth is, you never know when you'll be in a situation where you could save a life. It's easy to use, and in many places offer it for free or at a low cost. So let's be prepared and look out for each other. Remember, you might not plan on being around opioid use, but you never know when it will be around you, and you could save the life of somebody that loves and is loved. I'm Chuck LaFlange with the Ashes to Awesome podcast, and remember, you are loved.
I thought I was going to catch a lot of hate from, you know, anybody not my race. And to see these guys who are predominantly just want to listen to rap, or, you know, they like to listen to whatever they listen to, everybody received it good. And everybody felt something from it. And it was like a whole, like, I even had a couple of the guards in there, you know, they were listening. They're like, man, that's really good. Like, where did that come from? You've been here for almost a year now. Where did that come from? So
that just gave you the motivation and the drive to,
I realized
this was
at that
it.
moment, I realized, I was like, dude, I didn't just reach white people. I didn't just reach Mexicans. I didn't just reach blacks. I literally reached everybody, and I brought everybody together. And that's a whole nother like key point of value of my music. Like how business have, like, what are your values? My value is, like, you know, creative control and, you know, like motivation and bringing people together. That's who I am as a person. And I haven't stopped doing that, man. Naturally, people are going to hate, right? Getting into that. Yes, there's a few people in there, they're going to hate. And it could be out of jealous. It could be out of just sheer they don't like country music, or they didn't like the song, or they didn't like me. You know what I mean? But whatever it is, I mean, I experience it every day. But 99% of the time, I don't care who you are, you're going to feel something. And that's what music's all about. That's what I am a person. I'm all about. Like, I don't know.
That's why your music is just, it's touching so many people, because we've all said it before to you. It's relatable, you know. But think about how many guys that at the facility that Swag's at, you know, how many of those guys, I mean, Swag, you know, like, you see it firsthand.
The coolest thing for me, Willie, about you, man, is you are you. You are authentic in your way. You got up there in front of those 50 or whatever, and you didn't change for nobody. You was yourself. And the reason people relate to that is because it's very drawing. You know, it's hard for people to be authentic today because, you know, if you're a drug addict, like you said, man, there's a stigma over top of us like a black cloud. You know what I mean? And so when you put your words out there and you put it in music, and then somebody, you know, can relate to exactly what you're saying. And like you said, I'm found, you know, that song, every time I can listen to it, depends on the mood I'm in, depends on the meaning I get out of your song.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I can feel sad. I can feel happy. It can give me most of your songs that I listen to give me some sort of drive, motivation to push myself to be better than what I am today. And when the guys listen to it at the center, from Jelly Roll to you, to all the guys that listen to it, you guys are portraying something that's meaningful to a stigma has not any meaning in life, you know? So the thing is, as long as you stay real, raw, and authentic, you're going to do exactly what you're doing and help others. And that's your whole goal in this mission of what you're trying to accomplish, buddy.
Yep. Yeah, the way I look at it is, and I've said this for a while. The way I look at things is, I don't know. I guess I've always been a problem in a sense, and music was my way to help other people like me to fix those problems. You mean?
Yeah.
Yeah, I was a problem. Now I'm trying to fix the problem with what I know how to do best.
Yeah. I mean, you're out there doing something good. You're trying
Yeah.
to not only change your life, but helping other people change their life.
100%. Just some of the things, I just want to read a couple of these. Just some of the emails that I get from. Hold on 1 second. Some of the emails that I get from fans is it's it's amazing. It really is.
I'm sure it could
It's
get
almost heart
overwhelming.
wrenching sometimes. You know what I mean? Because here's some of the things people are going through. Here's some of the stuff that people are doing to themselves, or what they've done to other people over time, or that kind of thing. But before I get into that, let me pull this up. You guys have any questions for me so far?
What you got, Swag?
Man, the coolest thing for me is just listening to your music and understanding the words, because a lot of the guys that listen to your music, including myself or women, men, it doesn't really matter, relate to what you say. And that's the main thing. If we can relate to what someone's saying, it's going to pick us up, and so the thing
Yeah.
with you, and if you keep doing what you're doing, it's going to save lives. And then when you read those emails and you read those text messages, that just puts more fire in you, bud. The thing is we all need motivation ourselves to keep moving forward. Then we get that point in life, it's like, hey, what are we going to do? So you do sit in that jail cell, you sit in wherever you sit in a rehab center, and you're wondering. The bottom line is, man, to get anywhere in life, to do something positive in life, you got to do work, and that starts with yourself. You got to find out what your purpose is. And in that jail, you found out what your purpose was. Then you started writing. The thing for me, Willie, I want to ask you this question. Say if you'd have got up there and you'd say it'd have been a humiliation for you, would you have give up on it, or would you have kept fighting for your
No,
dream?
no. And here's why. It's because when I was a kid, I would always sing, and before, like, everything that happened, even my mom passed away, my mom would tell me, she said, "You're gonna be something great. You're gonna touch people one day." I didn't know what that meant. Obviously, I didn't know what was gonna happen, but I just knew. You know what I mean? And I think when a lot of people don't believe in it, but you can accomplish anything in life if you work hard at it, and not physical work, but manifestation. A lot of people don't believe in it, but if you think about something all the time, dude, and you do everything that you possibly can to work towards that goal, you're going to achieve it. It's got to be a realistic goal. You know what I mean? Like, you can't become a millionaire in one day, just off of, unless you win the lottery or something. But manifestation, dude, thinking, just doing everything in your power, everything in your being to work towards the goal that you're thinking about, that you're wanting to achieve. And like I said, some people think that sheer, like, force and sheer will, and, like, it kind of coincides, but some people get them confused in a sense. You know what I mean? Some people are like, oh, manifestation, you can't just think about something. Well, obviously, no, you got to do it. You got to do the things to get there. You got to work hard at it. That's with anything in life. No millionaire, no business owner, no drug addict has ever gotten to their end goal overnight. It takes time. So, no, I would not have ever. No, that's not something I would have done.
Yeah, I
Hey,
mean,
you ever think it? Go ahead, Jerry.
no, I was just gonna say, it might have, I'm correct me if I'm wrong, but like, it wouldn't have stopped you. Maybe you would have took you a little bit down a different road, for a little bit longer, this and that, to get to it. But at the end of the day, though, it still would give you the drive and the desire to keep going. Because then
Yes.
you can prove to the haters that this is who you are, and that you have the talent and the drive and to help people. And so,
Yeah.
what were you gonna say, Swag?
I was gonna say, Willie. See, I love that he's talking about like a vision. You know, you manifest stuff, right? So as you sit there and you're going through what you're going through right now, and you're working on these things for the future, and your vision, do you see, like, say that county jail or that prison was to reach out to you, man? Could you see yourself going back there and playing in front of them people, you know,
Oh,
and doing
100%.
stuff like that?
I would love to do that. I would love to be not an evangelist in a sense, but somebody who brings hope to places in need. You know what I mean?
Oh yeah.
Because you can't bring, I mean, food, you're fed, okay? In
Yeah.
jail, in prison, food, you're fed, right? I mean, you may not like it. It may be terrible, but I mean, you chose to do, you chose the crime you did. It's not going to be, this isn't the Ritz, you know what I mean? This isn't JW Marriott. You're not going to get a 5-star meal. You can bring food in. You can bring clothes in. That's going to make people happy, right? You could bring them 100 things, but the one thing people long for in jail more than anything is contact with the outside. And yeah, that's only so much through a video call or through a phone, but to have somebody come in from the outside, if I was in there, when I was in there, and somebody came in and sang, who was in the situation I was in, dude, that would have brightened up my whole outlook. That would have gave me so much drive to like do something like that. And I know it's security risks and things like that, but I think that as an addict and as somebody who has been through addiction, not as an addict now, but as an addict, in that mindset, and then in somebody in jail as a criminal and doing what they did, sitting in there, that would change. I think that would change. I think that would just blow people's minds. I would be more than willing to do that. I think that'd be amazing to bring hope, because that's what people long for, is hope. And some people may never get out, but I don't know, man. Just seeing something from the outside, or seeing the outside, it's
You got some of those emails.
Yeah, 100%. So this is just one. This guy's I'm not gonna say his name. He said to me, as a struggling addict of 20 plus years, I came home in 2020 and been pressing on your music. Your music is my drug now. Jelly Roll for a while until I heard your music. I was homeless. I was a homeless POS, pimping women, not taking care of my family, just someone no one wanted to be around. Something about the pain in your lyrics I relate to so much. I'm a nobody just trying to make it. I fall short every day. I've had the same job for over 3 years, and I haven't missed any support payments, and mostly a needle never hit my veins, thank God. You're a huge help every single day. As I struggle to make things happen, as long as I don't use, it will work one way or another. Thank you for being you. And it's titled, he's going to flash it. So he
That's
sent it to me.
something that should feel good to hear those words.
Yes, and no matter if it's something as little as, no subject. Hey, man, your music has really helped me a lot. Thank you.
How much joy does that bring to you, man?
It does. It's crazy, and that's all I want to do, because when I started writing music, I didn't touch on this point, but you guys already know this part. I heard Jelly Roll on the tablet for the first time, and that's what inspired me to write music, to feel that way. Because that's what started this whole thing. Like, what am I gonna do? Like, man, I want to write music. I'd love to help people, because I wanted to make people feel how Jelly Roll made me feel the first time I heard him.
Yeah, because think about like how you're doing that now, and then think about when you were like at the deepest, darkest part of your addiction, like, coming from there to now, and like Swag said, how it makes you feel to hear those words and whatnot. Like, I bet you as being, especially like even like for me, for instance, as well, like being in an active addiction, I would have never thought in a million years that I would be on a platform that's helping hundreds and thousands of people. So when we hear the positive feedback, it's like, wow, like that's awesome. So for you to be able to like I'm sure that you probably wouldn't have. You would have never thought you would hear those words today back then, right?
No, never.
So Willie, if somebody's watching this, say I play this at the center, I'll play this podcast for the guys, and you was going to talk to them and give them some words of encouragement or tell them something, because the coolest thing about you singers, man, and songwriters is they love your lyrics, they love your words. But what's even better is when they see something on a platform like this, that you're human, you've been through pains, you've been through struggles, you've been through life, and you could really sit and talk to them. What would you tell them?
I've thought about this question a lot, and I always have a bunch of different answers. But the one answer two answers actually, it's actually like 2 or 3 key points. The first step to recovering as an addict, or recovering from being a quote unquote bad person, and you want to change, is obviously number one, everybody knows it. Accepting that it's a problem. Number one. Number two, this is where a lot of people this is what they don't do. They just continue to go back to those situations. I don't care what it is. If you get out of a situation, say jail or out of a recovery center, and you go straight back to what you were doing, who you were around, where you were at, that you got in trouble or that you made that mistake at, I mean, you haven't had enough time to heal, no matter how strong a person is. It's, like I said, repeat offenders. It's not going to work. You got to, this is how I did it, man. And I'm going to keep this real short. The last time when I was at this house, and this was right before I went to work release the first time. And this was the moment that this is when I got clean. A lot of people, you might think it was work release that got me clean or whatever it was. No, it was a situation that I was in at this house, and I was there, and I was coming off of like a 5 or 6 day bender, and I saw a demon in my room, and it gives me cold chills talking about it. I saw a demon standing in the corner of my room, and I heard voices telling me to kill myself. Obviously it was, just psychoactive, not sleeping, and then being up, and then, doing drugs, dehydration, whatever it was. And I called my grandpa, and my grandpa's 2.5 hours away, and he was like, man, you gotta get out of there, dude. I don't know what you're doing. Like, you just gotta get out of there. I left everything behind. Most people aren't willing to do that, but sometimes to further in life, you gotta leave everything behind. I don't care what it is. I left everything behind. I left clothes in the closet. I left the bed. I left the TV. I left the couch. I left every single thing, every single drug, everything, dude. Shoes. I left it all. Because I knew if I stayed in that house one more minute, that I was going to change my mind. Because it's the power of things. It's the power of comfortability. Even though I wasn't comfortable, I was more comfortable than the thought of not being comfortable. So you got to cut things off in your life. You got to, whether it's a person, whether it's a something, whether it's whatever it is, you just got to make that decision to cut that out of your life. And it might be hard, dude. It was hard. You know what I mean? It was hard for a long time. If anybody's sitting here thinking that work release isn't easy, this was before work release. I was on the streets for 2 months living in a 1986 Buick LeSabre. You know what I mean? In August, September. Yeah, I know. In July and August. So with no headliner in it, during summer, it was rough. No shower, that kind of thing. So it might be rough, whatever it is. You might live on the streets, whatever it is, dude. You got to cut that whole part out of your life. And that was a big key point. All right. That's number 2. Number 3 is setting a goal. And like I said, creative control. That's what I'm about. You have creative control over your situation most 95% of the time.
Absolutely.
All right? Because I don't care what you say. Nobody's picking you up and forcing you to go in that house. Nobody's picking you up and forcing you to get in that car. Unless you're being assaulted in probably some way, or the cops are taking you to jail. That's the only time you're going to be forced to do anything. It's a decision. Everything relates back to a decision, which honestly, creative control is a decision in itself. So, remaining creative control over your life and making a decision, setting a goal and working towards that goal no matter what, not letting nobody, I don't care if it's the love of your life, if it's going to deem you away from doing that, cut it out. Use key point 2. Get it out of there, because it's not going to work. And most people think that that's cruel, man.
No,
I
mean, you got to do it. It's something you got to do.
Exactly. If you want to get to where you want to get to and somebody's trying to stop you, what do you got to do?
Yep.
The military does it every single day. Yep. People do it in their work every single day. Some people don't look at it like that. Some people, not everybody's going to apply that to an addict or a drug dealer or a criminal. Right. Some people, you know what I mean? And some people who are in good situations are weak and don't understand that. Some people have been given things, and I don't know. I think a lot of people who have worked toward they get at in life, they appreciate it so much more.
So, speaking on the goals, then, what would you like to accomplish? Like, what do you see yourself in the next few years? Like, what would your goals be?
The next few years, I just want to continue to develop my craft and help people, number one. Whatever that brings, whatever that means from an outside sense, I'm willing to step in that direction. Music obviously helps people, but I would like to start speaking at recovery rallies. I have an invitation to go to Hometown Hope May 3rd and 4th and be their headlining act. And that's something I would really love to do. That'd be a dream come true. It can range from anywhere to 700 to 2,000, maybe 3,000-4,000 people. And just go there and feed people and hang out with people and get to know people and sing for them and make them feel something positive. Because they might not have something positive before they showed up there or after when they go home. So to be there and be able to do that would be a dream come true. And just continue to, I'd love to speak at recovery centers, go around, and whether it means that they pay me $100 to come and sing or $50, I'd do it to come help and sing in front of people. I don't care if it's one song or if it's in front of one person. If it helps them, it helps them.
Yeah, that's the right mindset.
And obviously I want to one day, what angers me the most, I have never been in a recovery center, right? One of the things that angers me the most, and I saw this in jail and in prison and in work release even, is somebody gets out of jail, and I've already touched on this in this interview. Somebody gets out of jail, like I said, repeat offenders, right? They're not inserting creative control in their situation. I mean, they're inserting creative control in a negative way. They're going to go back to that situation. Well, some people get let out of whatever to go to a recovery home. And then they go to a recovery home, and then you see them back in jail 3 weeks or a week later sometimes. Like, dang, didn't you just go to a recovery home? Yeah, I went. I did a 3 or 7 day detox or whatever it is. And then I'm back. Well, what's your charge? Possession. Of what? Methamphetamine. I was like, dude, you just went to a recovery center for that. He was like, yeah, I just did my detox and they kicked me out. I didn't have anywhere to go. So I just went back to where I went back to my dope house where I know I could be warm. Yeah. And I was sitting there thinking, I'm like, man, wouldn't it be nice? Wouldn't it be nice to have the money and have the support to have just like one place for people to come? It's going to obviously be a limited staff, or a limited quantity of people, but maybe one day it wouldn't be. Maybe it could be centers all over the country, recovery centers that not only give somebody the detox, not only give somebody a place to stay while they detox and that, but while they're there, this also comes back to the person. It's got to be a personal decision. While they're there, for whatever time it is, get them set up with homes, whether it's a hut, but it's warm, it's got food, and give them opportunities to, like work release, dude. You know what I mean? In work release, some people who are there necessarily don't need to be there in a sense. Like there's worse people that could be there. But a structure, because people need structure. They need something to fall back on. They need concrete under their feet. Like in the Bible, you don't build a house on sand. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
And throwing an addict back on the street after 7 days is throwing a house on sand with a flood behind it. It's just not going to help. And I know you guys have seen it. You guys probably still see it. So a place where a person can come and by choice, if they're doing what they need to do, there obviously would be rules in place. By choice, have things taken care of in a sense of detox and staying clean and have that structure there, but also getting set up with a job. And then using that money and using that funds to set somebody up with a house and possibly go to a community college and get a degree and that kind of thing. That would obviously come in steps. But I think that as a whole in America, I think we're so focused on the wrong things, especially in the system, the prison system, because it, as no matter what people want to say, it is a system, and most criminals aren't smart enough to beat that system because they're not given the tools to beat the system. Not beat the system in a bad way, but beat the system.
Overcome the system. Overcome the system.
Yeah. Overcome the system. Yes, exactly. But overcome it in a way that's positive. Beat it in a positive way by developing into a productive member of society. Because you can beat the system all day, but most people, when they refer to that, mean it in a bad way. No, you've got you've got to rehabilitate.
Right. I mean,
rehabilitate.
Just locking them up and sending them to jail and letting them serve a sentence and then letting them out, it's not going to do anything. You know, that I'll be honest, like I've said it before, I've never personally have been to jail, but I have ran recovery meetings inside the jails, and I see it a lot. And a lot of them, they need to be rehabilitated. There needs to be better resources. You can't just lock somebody up for a dope charge, put them in jail for a year or two, and do nothing, and they just spend their time, and then they get out and they go right back. Because what happened? They stayed in there and they worked out and played cards for 2 years.
And they got out and everybody left them. Their family was done with it because they were just in there and they're like, "Oh, I'm done with it." And then they come out with probably tattoos on them or whatever else happens in there, and they have nothing to go back to. Boom,
but if they had something where they go in and they help them and they help teach them courses and do stuff like that. And I'm not saying that it doesn't happen, but we see a lot of it.
It does, most definitely.
It does, just not as much as it should.
No,
I really think.
Sorry, go ahead.
No, I was going to say, I think that it should, personally, in my personal opinion, I don't speak for everybody, but I just think there needs to be better resources when it comes to addiction and people getting locked up and have to serve their time. I think
it happens more in jail, that they have more programs in jail than they do in some recovery centers.
Yeah.
Aspire, not to call out places, but Aspire and I can't think of some of them around here. Indianapolis. I mean, there's a few recovery centers around here. It's just some of them don't. I don't know. They don't give people the tools they need to. Some people think it's not just a choice, dudes. Like I said, some people just don't have the ability to they don't have the ability to want to change because there's nothing there for them to want for. If that makes sense. There's nothing.
The coolest thing for us at our center in Willy, man, is what they just started about a week or two ago at the beginning of the year, man. They have what they a couple times a week, and the guys absolutely love it. And you guys, the songs played all the time, man. It's music therapy. Where for an hour or two, man, they go up and the activities coordinator will pull up different songs. They'll listen to it, and then they think about, what they listen to and different things like that, man. And they're getting a lot of really good feedback from music therapy, because if you think about it, man, music I'll just say is like a DOC for all of us now. I mean, music helped save my life. There was a song sent to me when I was in ICU And if it wouldn't have been for the music part of it, and then listening to that song, "See the Light" by Toby Mac, I mean that
Yeah.
portrayed my whole life of what I was going through right then. You know, and like I said, man, I'm faith based. A lot of people, I don't push anything on anyone, but they'll ask me, and I tell them, hey, this I can give you my strength and hope and courage and experience of what I've been through, and this is what helped save me. And the thing about it, man, is I know music's got a lot to do with all of it because everybody listens to music. Because in recovery centers or jail or any of that, you got what's called time. You can't
Yep.
put money on time.
Nope.
You can't put money on time. So the thing is, it's what you feed your mind. What are you gonna feed your mind? You gonna feed it to TV and the news and people getting shot, or you gonna feed your mind with some good music like where you can relate to it. And then guess what happens? They get ambition, they get drive, they get motivation from your music. And the more you play it, the more they see it and the more they want it. So the drive off the music to me is a big issue. And that's why recovery music's taken off so much. And just like I said, man, when Jelly Roll came out with Save Me, and then the next song, like you said, okay, he had Save Me. And then I heard your song, I'm Found. Think about what them songs mean, you know? I mean, them songs are deep, man. I'm Found, Save Me. I mean, come on, man. And Joe Nestor's Story of an Addict, where he tells his story. And then Stand Up by Nick Gracious. I mean, come on. I mean, the stories go on, and you portray your story through music, and people can relate to it. That's just like you heard your email from that guy.
Yeah.
Come on, man. That dude's been sober, what, 2-3 years now? And you give him strength and hope and courage off what you say. And then to come to find out is when you get on these podcasts, they see, man, he really is real. He really did go through these things. He really is trying to help people. He is sharing hope.
Yeah.
And think about what it's going to do when that guy hears this podcast and hears that you read his thing.
Yep.
That's the coolest shit to me.
Yeah.
Here's another email I want to read too. Some of these I haven't read, but I actually haven't read this one all the way through. It's kind of long. So he said, "My name is so and so. I was lost in rehab 2,300 miles from my family. Well, let's say family. I couldn't get a hold of my mom. Dad wouldn't answer. Sister wouldn't answer. Sister couldn't watch me kill myself anymore. And Willie, I was 102 pounds, 23 years old, with only the clothes I had on my back. Oh, I see. Everything I owned, the rehab gave me. An iPod Touch with YouTube and Facebook on it. I was watching reels, and there you were in your car, driving around, singing, promoting your music. And I found myself watching the sunrise at Lake Worth Beach in South Florida, screaming your lyrics to the skies. Hoping God would come help me. Sorry.
No, you're good.
Good, bro.
As
Take your time,
well,
brother.
your music bangs in my house today because it helped me find myself in the darkest days. Oh, sorry. I'm trying to decipher here. I passed it. He said something about beautiful days again. I think he mistyped. He said, "My daughter loves when I play your music. I'm not rich at all money-wise. I don't own a home, but I do own AirPods and choose to bang your music through them while I build this life for my family today. Thanks, brother. I go by so-and-so on Facebook where I seen this email."
Wow.
Yeah.
That's good stuff, Willie, man.
Just
Super
keep
proud of
doing
all
it.
you've overcome, man.
Yeah.
Your music's definitely touching lives, and I'm excited about, man, getting with the activity coordinator. And like I said, man, you ain't but a few hours south. So we're going to try to get you up here this year to Meridian. And like I said, man, I know a lot of rehab centers up here and things. So,
Mm-hmm.
I mean,
And
it's
I know a
all
lot
up
out
up
here in New
here.
York too that we can hook you up with if you have the opportunity.
Yeah, that'd be great. That's what I want to continue to do. And obviously, it doesn't just stop at that. It could be a regular everyday thing, man. Look at Jelly Roll. Look at him as a person.
Yeah.
He's not your typical country singer. He's not your typical person. Most people would look at him the other way, like, you know what I mean? This guy's got tattoos on his face, and he says it himself. He's a big fat man with tattoos on his face, and he says he's just a stupid songwriter. And, I don't think that's true at all. I think he's one of the most intelligent people on earth.
Yeah.
I mean, he's more intelligent than a lot of people give him credit for. But look at where he's at because of creative control, because of the drive to get somewhere. It took him a long time. He didn't sign no deal to do this. And a lot of people ask me, I would never sell my soul or sell anything of mine to get. I just want to help people, dude. I just want to help people.
I mean, like you said, look at him. Look at him and where he came from in his past. And the dude got to sit down in front of the Congress or whatever it was and talk about the fentanyl epidemic.
Yeah. And personally, just for me, man.
Wow.
Over the past 6 years, I personally I can't tell you how many people that I know just from being around and being in the places and the things I've seen and just being, like I said, just being around other people, how many people I know and have heard die from fentanyl in the past 6 years. In my little town here that I was in, here in Indiana and surrounding areas, how many young kids who, maybe they shouldn't have been doing drugs, but sometimes it wasn't even drugs, dude. It was a pure accident. They got in the wrong pill bottle in the cabinet and accidentally took something, and it was pressed with fentanyl. They touched something that had fentanyl on it at somewhere they weren't supposed to be, or breathed it in because it was left somewhere, and you know what I mean? Or it was slipped in somebody's drink, or whatever it was. People just dying, and it hurts me. I actually just had somebody, I'd say it's about 2.5 months ago, somebody that I was pretty close to pass away. 2 years younger than me. So, actually 3 years younger than me. I forgot I'm old, so I'm getting old. I'm getting old. I can't say I guess.
We've been recording for 48 minutes, and there's been at least 10 people that have overdosed and possibly have passed away on fentanyl. Every 5 minutes, somebody overdoses. Every 5 minutes, off of just fentanyl. So out of 50 minutes that we've been on here, and it's sad to say this, but at least 10 people have had that. And this is why we have to keep doing what we're doing. We have to keep with this podcast. Swag's got to keep working with his guys at the treatment facility. You got to keep doing your music because we have to stop this. We have to. We got to break down those barriers, and we have to help each other and just lift each other up. And that's the only way we're going to get through this is helping each other, and calling each other up and listen, man, can we do X, Y, and Z? Like, dude, let's do it. But we 100%. Have to. And it's sad if you put in those things to think that 10 people in this last almost hour that we've been doing this.
10 souls, not just
10
people,
souls. 10 souls. And out of how many of those will survive? Unfortunately, it kills me to think that.
Yeah, it is very sad.
Yeah, the stigma behind it is just insane, But what's super cool, moving from Florida to Michigan and being in recovery, that we're one big family, man. And I tell you what, man, recovering out loud is the thing. I mean, you see, all your elites and everything coming out about, hey man, I'm sober now, or hey, I'm stopped drinking, I'm in recovery, whatever it may be. You see a lot of people coming out saying, hey man, I have a higher power now. You see a lot of things happening, man, that you didn't see. And the thing about recovery is, man, it's starting to really pump, and it has a lot to do, really, with you guys' music. It's what's being heard, And the thing about it, if you think 5, 6, 7 years ago, recovery music wasn't nothing.
Right.
No.
These guys didn't sing anything. Okay. You take Jelly Roll. He rapped.
Yeah.
When he started singing and putting his life story out there, saved me, and started thinking, and when that first finally hit, and people were like, whoa, like, man, these people are singing about my life. That's my life story too.
Yeah.
And then when we first had you on, and I was like, man, I heard your music. I'm like, wow. I was like, man, this cat just got his own vibe. I mean, he can sing, he can rap, he's got his own his twerk, how he sings and how he portrays his story, and the cool thing about it, man, is people can relate to that music, and that's why they love this stuff, man. I mean, it's definitely really hitting hard, and it's only going to get bigger. So that's the thing, man. You envision you make a goal, you set a plan, and you work. You know,
Yeah.
and I love that word, creative control, man. I like how you said that.
Yeah. I keep going, man, because independent and being able to be creative, that's the only way to go these days.
Yeah, 100%. No matter if it doesn't pay or it's not a fast paced thing, it's better than being told what to do.
Yeah,
at
I
the
agree.
end of the day.
Yeah.
And nobody likes to be told what to do all the time.
Right.
But
Yeah.
I would say to anybody watching this, if you've listened to anything that I've said, just what he just said, create creative control in your life and maintain it. Because when you maintain creative control, if you want it, you will achieve it. If you want to get sober, maintain creative control of your mind, of your body, of your surroundings, of the people around you, and you'll succeed. You won't falter.
Absolutely.
Unless something crazy happens. But it all resorts back to a decision, which is creative control.
Yeah. That's facts. That is facts. Before we wrap up, is there anything else you want to say?
No, thank you for having me. I hope I touched somebody today, helped some people. Whoever's watching this, man, you got this.
Where can they find you at? Where can they support your music?
YouTube, Spotify, Apple Music, wherever you stream music. Willy Kay, WILLYKAY, and then on social medias, it's all Willy Kay 317. Except Facebook, that's Willy Kay. You'll find me.
Yeah, we'll go put the links in the description. Everybody, go follow Willy. Go show him some love. He's changing lives out there. He's doing the thing.
Yeah.
And me and Swag, we've said this since the jump, since the first time that we heard you. We're like, this dude's going places. Like he's gonna blow up. Like it's gonna happen. You manifest that, claim that. It's happening, man. And we've said it since the jump, and the opportunity to be able to get to talk to you and know you on this level when you're just starting out. I mean, so we're excited to see a year from now where you're at.
Yeah.
We're all going to be in life. So you're doing something. You're definitely doing something.
The coolest thing for me, Willie, man, is watching you grow. You know, I know we don't talk much and stuff like that. We're all got our schedules and our lives moving forward and in recovery, but on social media, TikTok and your reels and seeing your music and your last song that you come out with, man, talking about your higher power and different things and seeing you grow as a person and just how you portray yourself, man. And like I said, from the get go, I mean, you're going to be you. You're authentic, you're real, you're raw. And the coolest thing, man, is you're Willy Kay, and that's the
Yeah.
coolest thing, bro, is to know you on a personal level. I really appreciate you taking the time again, man, and getting on here. I can't wait to work with you. Hopefully this year, man, we get you up here to Michigan. We'll get you in these recovery centers up here, man, and let you spread that hope and give these guys motivation that you do, buddy.
Appreciate you.
Absolutely. All right. Well, we're going to wrap it up. That wraps up another episode. Hopefully today's conversation left you feeling inspired and uplifted. I think I definitely got some inspiration from it as well. And we've had 4 different times now we've talked and stuff. So I know I got the inspiration from it. Yeah. Hopefully if you guys enjoyed today's episode, just please, share it out, follow, subscribe. You never know when somebody is going to need to hear these words of encouragement. And like I always like to say this at the end of every podcast is there's always a reason to hold on to hope. There's always a reason. Until next time, we signing off.
Appreciate you.
All right, let me end this real quick. Did I